Hey everyone, welcome back to WebDev Warriors. Today we are building a stunning portfolio website from scratch using Next.js, TypeScript, and Tailwind CSS. I will walk you through every step, and by the end, you will have a sleek professional portfolio ready to show off. Let's jump right into the demo. If I reload the page, you can see cool animation in our project. Then you can see we don't have the regular cursor, but we have a very customized and cool looking cursor. And if I hover at the nav link, you can see how cool it is. And then another amazing thing is we don't have the regular scroll bar. So we have this customized scroll bar here. Then we have this hero section with some text, and this text have a linear gradient effect. Then if I scroll, we have the about me section, and you can see we have scroll animation in our project, and looks very smooth. So this is our about me section. Then we have this services section with scroll animation, and if I hover over the card, you can see they have very nice 3D looking hover effect, which looks very nice. Then we have this project section with scroll animation, and then we have this skill section with scroll animation, and we have a hover effect here. Then we have the client review section, and this is a very nice looking slider where you can slide from left to right or right to left, and this slider also have a auto sliding feature. So if you wait sometimes, you can see the slider slide automatically. Then we have this block section with scroll animation and some hover effect. Then we have this contact section where we have this amazing form with first name, last name, and all the options. And here we have some information about us. Next, we have this simple footer. And here you can see we have a button. So if I click here, it will go to the top. So this is a scroll to top button, and you can see how smooth it is. If I click here, you can see it smoothly go to the top. Another big feature of this project is it's fully responsive. So it is responsive in all of the devices. So if I show you, if I inspect, and then if I select a mobile devices, you can see this section fit perfectly, and we have a burger menu. So if I click here, it will open a very nice sidebar with nav links. Here we have our nav links, and if I click here, it will close with animation, sliding animation. So this looks very nice. Then you can see our other section also fit perfectly here. This is the about me section, this is the services section, this is the project section, this is the skill section. Then we have the client review slider. Then we have the block section. And finally, we have this contact form information and footer. Everything fit perfectly in mobile devices. And then if I select another type of devices like iPad devices, so if I select iPad mini, here you can see everything looks very nice here. So every section fit perfectly according to the screen size, and you can see no overflow and nothing. Then if I select another type of device like iPad Pro, in this case you can see it's also fit perfectly. So our portfolio is responsive all across the devices. Another good thing is, so if I go to the code, here you can see we have a object of information. So here we have the base information, services data. So all of these are used in our project. So if you want to customize your project, you just need to change here. You do not need to go to the every section and change the information there, change the code there. You just need to change here. So like if you want to change your name, just change here. If you want to change your profile picture, you can change the source here. If you want to change your about information, you can change here. So you can fully customize this portfolio using this data file. So there are a lot of features in this portfolio. I'm going to teach you every step from scratch. I'm going to teach you how you can set up your Next.js, TypeScript, and Tailwind CSS project. I'm going to show you how you can customize your cursor and scroll bar, how you can create reusable component, how you can add animation to your website, and finally I'm going to show you how you can deploy your project in the live server. So I encourage you to watch the full video for better understanding. And the source code of this project will be given in the description and also the starter file. And if you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe our channel for more interesting web development project. Now, let's start building this amazing portfolio website. Now, let's set up our project. So first, I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to name it dev portfolio, and then I'm going to open this folder with Visual Studio Code. Then I'm going to open a new terminal here, and then I'm going to install the Next.js project. So to install this, I'm going to use npx create next app at the rate latest, and then I'm going to add a dot slash so that all the files are installed in this folder. So I'm going to hit enter. Now it's asked me if I like to proceed, so I'm going to enter here. Now it's asked me some questions. So would you like to use TypeScript? Yes, we are going to use TypeScript. We are going to use ESLint, Tailwind CSS. No, we do not need the source directory. We're going to use the app router, and we do not need to customize the import alias. Now it will install all the packages that is necessary to initialize a Next.js project. So let's wait some time to complete the installation. Our installation is completed. Next, go to your tailwind config.ts and here remove this extend part. So we do not need this. Now go to your app folder. So this is the main directory. Here we have a global.css for our global styling. Here we have some styling. So I'm going to remove all of this because we are going to start from scratch. Then we have this layout folder. So this layout is the overall layout of our project. So let me give you an example. So if I suppose if I add a navbar here and then a footer, then this navbar and footer will be attached to all the pages that you are going to create in this project. So this is the main wrapper component of our website. So we are going to work on this file later. Next, we have this page.tsx. So this is the main page. When you go to the localhost 3000, this page will appear. So now I'm going to remove all of this and I'm going to use a shortcut RAFC to create a component boilerplate, and I'm going to name it home page. So to use the shortcut, you have to install a extension, and this extension is called ES7 React Redux React Native Snippet. If you install this extension, you can use the shortcut. Now here I am going to add some Tailwind classes to see if our Tailwind is working or not. So I'm going to make the text larger using text 5xl. Now let's start our project using npm run dev. Then go to the browser and go to localhost 3000. Now as you can see, the text is bigger, so our tailwind is working properly. Next, I am going to teach you some basic routings in Next.js project. So this is the home page, but if you want to create a about us page, what you need to do? So to create a about page, we have to create a new folder inside the app folder, and you have to name it about. And then inside this you have to create a page.tsx, and it is important you have to name it page.tsx, otherwise it will not work. Then I'm going to use the shortcut to create a component, and let's say about page. Now if I hit save and if I go to the browser And if I go to localhost 3000 slash about, now you can see we have the about page. Next, if you want to create a page where you have to go to the localhost 3000 slash project slash project details, then what you need to do? So to go to there, you have to create a folder and then name a project. So this will add project to your URL like localhost 3000 slash projects, and inside this create another folder like project details, and this will add project details to your URL like localhost 3000 slash project slash project details. Now if you want to create a page.tsx here and use RAFC to create the component like project details. Now if you go to the localhost 3000 slash project details, you can see we are in the project details page. Now let's say if you want to create a dynamic routing, what you are going to do? Something like after the project details, you are going to receive a ID of the project like ID 1. So how you can do that? So to add the dynamic routing, what you need to do is let's go to the project details folder, and here you have to create another folder and you have to wrap it in this third bracket, and let's name it ID. And then here you have to create a page.tsx, then use RAFC and name it project details page, and let's remove this one, so delete. And now if I save and go to the project, so now this page is not defined here and we have to add a ID1. So if I add ID1 here and hit enter, now you can see we are in the project details page. So this is how the dynamic routing works in Next.js. So this is the basic routings in Next.js. Now I'm going to remove this about and this project details because we do not need this here. So that's it. Now let's go back to our home page. So this is it. Next, we are going to customize our font and metadata. So how we can do that? So we can do it in our layout folder. In Next.js, we already have Google Font integrated, so we do not need to manually add Google Font in our project. Here you can see it's importing the inter font from Next Font Google. For this project, we are going to use Sora font. So here I am going to search for Sora. So this is the font we are going to use. Then I'm going to change the constant here and I'm going to name it font, and I'm going to remove this and use our font Sora. And then here we have to give some parameter. First one is the font weight. It will be an array of the value, so 100, 200, 300. So it will be a comma, then 400, 500, 600, 700 and 800. And then we have to pass another parameter which is subset, and the subset will be Latin. And then I am going to add here font dot class name. Now if I hit save, and as you can see our font changed. And if I inspect and if I hover here, you can see it's Sora font. Then we are going to change our metadata, and you can see here we have our metadata, and the metadata is very important for SEO purposes. So for now I am going to give this a name of WebDev portfolio, and the description will be WebDev portfolio with Next.js. You can add anything you want. This will help the SEO. Now if I go here, you can see at the top we have WebDev portfolio. Amazing. Next, for our project we have to use some images. So let's create a folder in the public and name it images, and here I'm going to copy some images that we are going to use in this project. So these are some of the images that we are going to use, and all of this will be given in the starter file. You just need to download the starter file that is given in the description and you will get the images from there. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. So this is the image that we are going to use. Next, we are going to install a icon packages, because in our project we are going to use some icons. So for the icons we are going to use React icons. If I search here React icons, you can see they have a lot of icons to use. Now I'm going to open their npm package and I'm going to copy their npm script to install, and then I'm going to split the terminal and paste it here, and this will install the icons in our project. So it's completed now. Next, I'm going to create a folder called data, and here I am going to create a file called data.ts. Here I am going to add the data we are going to use in our project. So let me copy the data here. Now let me paste the data here. So these are the data we are going to use in our project. So if I show you here, we have some base info where we have name, position, description, profile pic. Then we have this about info with title, description, client, experience, project, and website. So by using this data file, you can easily customize your portfolio. So like if you want to change the name, you can just change it here. You do not go to all the file and manually change this. You can just change here and your portfolio will be customized. So we are going to use this data file in our project. Next, I am going to create a component folder here, and inside this component folder I'm going to create a helper folder and a home folder. Inside this home I am going to create a new file called home.tsx. So I'm going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate. This home component will contain all the homepage related component like the hero component, the about us component, and then this home component will be added to our homepage. So here, so we are going to add all other component in home component, and then we are going to add the home component in our home page component. Now let's remove the class name, we do not need it here. And this home component we are going to give a class name of overflow hidden, because we do not want any overflow in our portfolio project. Now if you go to your browser, you can see we have home here. So this is the setup for our project. Next, we are going to build the navbar. So if I show you the navbar, here you can see we have a logo, some nav links, and a button. So to build it, I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it navbar. And inside this, I'm going to create first nav.tsx. So this one for the desktop navbar, I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. Then I'm going to create another one which is mobile nav.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC, and this is for the mobile navigation bar, which is basically the sidebar. Then we are going to create another one which is responsive navbar, responsive nav.tsx, and here we are going to add the logic to make the navbar responsive. And here I am going to add our nav, also the mobile nav, and then I'm going to add this responsive nav in my layout folder. So here I'm going to add our responsive nav. Now if I hit save, and now here you can see we have our nav and mobile. By adding the navbar in the layout folder, we make sure that if we create another page, this navbar will be attached to this newly created page. Now go to your navbar. The first div will have a class name of fixed, height will be 12vh, and set index will be 10. For now, let's give this a background. This is the dummy background. We are going to change it later. So now if I hit save, and here you can see we have our navbar. Let's make the width full. So now we have a background. Now inside this nav, we're going to have another div with class name of flex. Items will be center, height will be full, justify will be between. So basically inside this div we are going to add our logo and our nav links, and we are going to make it a flex and separate them using this justify between. Now width will be 95%, and in small and high devices the width will be 90%, and extra large devices width will be 80%, and mx will be auto. Now inside this div we're going to have our logo. First we have logo. Let's use some comment for readability, and here I'm going to import image from next image, and then inside this we're going to have a source. So this will be slash images slash logo dot png, and the alt tag will be logo. The width will be 170, height will be 170, and this one will have a class name of margin left will be -1.5 rem, and smaller devices margin left, smaller and high devices margin left will be 0. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our logo. Next we have a div, and this will be our nav links, and inside this div we have a class name of flex items center, and SpaceX will be 10. Now here we are going to add a link tag which is coming from next link, and we're going to use home. And what we need to do is we have to copy this multiple times, then add our about, then services. So we have to repeat ourselves. So for this reason what I am going to do is, first I am going to go outside of here, and then I'm going to create a folder called constant, and inside this I'm going to create a file called constant.ts, and here I'm going to export navlinks const navlinks, which will be an array of object, and it will contain an id, then a url. For now it will be hash, but if you create multiple page you can add their url here, and a label. First one will be home. So now I'm going to copy it multiple times. So this one will be id 2, about 3, services. This one will be id 4, projects, id 5, reviews, and finally id 6 and contacts. Now you can change here your nav links and it will be reflected to your project. So this is our nav links. Next, go to the navbar, and here we are going to get our nav links from our constant, not this one. So nav links, so it's coming from constant, and then we are going to map through it. So dot map, and we'll get individual nav link, and then here we're going to return a link which is coming from next link, and first we have to provide a key. The key will be nav link dot id, and then a href will be nav link dot url. Now inside this link we're going to have a p tag with our nav link dot label. Now we're going to add a class name here, and we're going to create a custom class which is nav link. So we're going to create this nav link class in our global css. Now if I go here, you can see we have our nav links here, but they are not styled properly. So here I am going to create a nav links custom classes. Now I am going to open my global css, and here we'll have a layer components, and dot nav link. So we have these custom classes, and here we are going to apply some Tailwind classes. So first one is relative, then we have text base, font will be medium, width will be feet, it will be block, after it will be block, then after the content will be empty, after it will be absolute, after the height will be 3 pixel, after the background will be yellow 400, text will be white, then after width will be full, after scale x will be 0, and after hover will be scale x will be 100, and we're going to add some transition here, and the duration will be 300, and the origin will be right. Now if I hit save, and now we have our nav links, you can see the hover effect, so that looks very nice. Next we have this button to hire me, so let's go to our Navbar. Here we have something missing, that is this whole things will be inside a div, and this div have a class name of hidden, so it will be hidden in smaller devices. In large it will be flex, items will be center, and SpaceX will be 8. And this one is to separate the button and the nav links, and this tip is to separate the nav links only. So after this tip we have buttons, so button, and here we have a div with class name of flag, items will be center, and SpaceX will be 4. Now inside this div we'll have a button, and it will say hire me. This button will have a class name of, in medium screen px will be 10, and in medium screen py will be 3, otherwise px will be 8 and py will be 3. Text will be blue 800, font will be semi bold. In smaller devices text will be base, text small. In extra small devices background will be white. In hover background will be gray 200, and transition will be all, and duration 200, and rounded will be large. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our button which called hire me. And after this button we will have a burger menu. So in mobile devices this burger menu will appear, and by clicking it the sidebar will open. So this one will be high bars bottom right, so 3 bottom right, and the class name will be width 8, height 8, cursor will pointer, text will be white, in large screen it will be hidden. So for now let's remove this one to show you. So here you can see this is our burger menu, but it will be hidden in large screen and appear at the smaller screen. So let's add here, in large screen it will be hidden. So now this is our desktop map. So if I inspect and let's select the responsive, and you can see at small devices the nav links is hidden, and we have our burger menu. Next, we are going to build the mobile navigation bar. So if I show you the mobile navigation, so if I click here, you can see first we have an overlay, then we have the actual sidebar, and then we have a cross icon to close the navigation bar. So first, let's go to your mobile nav component, and then inside this div, we first have overlay. So this div have a class name of fixed, then inset will be 0, then we have set index of 1000, bg will be black, opacity will be 70, width will be full, height will be screen. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have a overlay here. Then we have the nav links. So here we have a div with class name of text will be white, it will be fixed also, justify will be center, flex will be in column direction, height will be full, width will be 80%, in smaller devices width will be 60%, background will be hash 0f0715, space y will be 6, and z index will be 1006. Now if I hit save, and let's say here hi, here you can see we have our sidebar. So let's make it mobile devices. So here you can see we have the text hi and we have the background here, and let's increase the overlay here, z index. So now you can see we have our overlay and we have our background, sidebar background. Next we have a nav links. So here I am going to import the nav links for our constant, and let's copy this from our nav. So this is the div, so let's copy this one and paste it here, but we have to change something. So we do not need this div here, so we have this div, and this p tag we have nav links. Again we are going to add some extra classes like text will be 20 pixel, margin left will be 12, border bottom will be 1.5 pixel, padding bottom will be 2, border will be white, and smaller and higher devices text will be 30 pixel. Now if I hit save, and we have to import the link here. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our nav links, but it's not looking good. So let's check. This one will be space y6. Now you can see now it looks very nice. Next, what we need to do here, we have a close button. So here we have a close button. So here we are going to use CG close, which is the icon coming from React icons. So if I show you, you can see it imported from React icons, and this icon will have a class name of absolute. Top will be 0.7 RAM, right will be 1.4 RAM, smaller devices width will be 8, smaller devices height will be 8, otherwise width will be 6 and height will be 6. So this one will be small and high devices, and this will be for extra small devices, and text will be white. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our close button. So this looks amazing. So next we are going to make our navbar responsive. So for this, go to your responsive nav, and here we are going to use state, and use state is a hooks, and in Next.js all the component is by default server component, and in server component you cannot use hooks. To use hooks you have to convert your component in client component. So we are going to convert this into a client component. So before that, let me show you. Let's say here I create a constant show nav and set show nav and use the use state, and initially it will be false. Now if I hit save, you can see here we have a error. It says that you are importing a component that needs use state. It only works in a client component. So we have to convert this into a client component, and to convert this into a client component we are going to use client at the top. Now it will fine. Now let's see. So now you can see the error is gone. Now we have our state variables. Then I am going to create two functions. One is show nav handler, which will be an error function, and it will set our show nav to true. And another one will be close nav handler, and this one will make our set show nav to false. Now we have to pass some props in our nav and mobile nav. So for the nav we are going to pass a open nav props, which will be our show nav handler function, and in mobile nav we are going to pass the nav which is show nav. So let's name it show nav, and we are going to pass our show nav and also close nav, and this will be our close nav handler. Now we have to receive these props in our nav and mobile nav and give them a proper type definition. So you can see here it's complaining us. So to remove this complaint we have to receive this prop and give them a proper type definition. So first let's open the navbar, and at the top I am going to define the props type. So define props type. So type props, and here we're receiving a open nav, which is a function that return nothing, so that's why void. Now we are going to add this in our nav component. So props, and we are going to import open nav. Now if I hit save, now here you can see the warning is gone from navbar. Now in nav, when we click on the burger menu, so on click we are going to open our nav. So open nav, that's it. And then in our responsive nav, we have to receive the props. So let's go to the mobile nav, and here props type. So let's use a type props, and you can name it anything. You can name it nav props, or you can name it nav, anything you like. So for me, I'm going to use nav props, and here we are receiving a show nav, which is a type of boolean, and another one is close nav, which is a function that returns void. Now here let's add it props. Now you can see the warning is gone. So here I am going to import the close nav and show nav. Now based on the condition of show nav, we are going to show the sidebar and close the sidebar. So for this, here what I am going to do is I am going to create a constant called nav open, and this will be when the show nav is true, we are going to translate x0. That means we are going to show the sidebar. Otherwise, we are going to use translate x minus 100%. So we are going to remove it from the screen. So that's it. Now we are going to add this in our overlay as well as this navlinks div. So we have to make it a template literal to use a dynamic styling. So first I'm going to wrap it with the curly braces and use the template literal and remove this backticks here. And here we're going to use our nav append, and also we are going to add some of the extra classes, which is we're going to use transform so that our translate works properly, and then we're going to add some transition and duration. So when it slide, it will have some sliding animation and it will be a smooth sliding. So duration will be 500. Now let's add this here also. So wrap it in curly braces and add template literal and remove the backticks. And here we'll also have our nav open, and we have some other classes like transform, transition, or duration will be 500 millisecond, and here we are going to use a delay of 300 milliseconds. So first we want the overlay comes and then the nav links div. So now if I hit save, let's see. So if I click here, you can see it looks amazing. First the overlay comes and then the sidebar, but now the close button not working because we do not add the function here. So let's go to your close button, and here in the on click add the close nav and hit save. And now if I click here, you can see it closes very nicely. If I click here, it opens, and if I click here, it will close. So our sidebar is working perfectly. Another thing that is left here is if I go to the deployed version, you can see initially the navbar have the background of the hero section, but if I start scrolling, you can see it changes background color. So initially it doesn't have any background color, but when I start scrolling, it have some background color. So now we're going to add this in our navbar. So for this, let's go to the nav.tsx, and at the top I am going to create a state variable, and as I use the state variable, we have to make it a client component. So I'm going to use client, and now here we're going to use a state variable which is nav bg and set nav bg, and here we will have a use state, and initially it will be false. Now we're going to use the use effect hooks, and here we have the dependencies array, and inside this we are going to create a function called handler, and it will be an arrow function, and inside this we are going to check if window dot scroll y, not screen y, scroll y is greater than or equal 90, then we are going to set background, set navbg to true, and if window dot scroll y is less than 90, then we are going to set our navbg to false. Now if I hit save, and then what we are going to do is in the windows we are going to add a event listener. So window dot add event listener, and we are going to listen for scroll. So when we are scrolling, and in that case we are going to add our handler function, and next we are going to add a cleanup function. So the cleanup function will be a return an arrow function, and I am going to copy this one, paste it here, and this will be remove event listener. Now if I hit save, and let's add some height so that we have the scroll. So here at the page, in this div, let's give this a height of 1000 pixel. Now if I hit save, and now you can see we have a scroll, but now nothing's happening. So let's go to the nav, and here this one will be inside a curly braces and a template literal, because we are going to add some variable here. So this one will be fixed, and then we are going to check if the navbg is true, then we are going to add a background of hash 240b39, and otherwise we just use fixed, and we are going to add some transition here so that we have a smooth change. So transition all, and duration will be 200 milliseconds. Now if I hit save, and if I start scrolling, and let's remove this color here. Now hit save, let's reload the page, and now if I start scrolling, now you can see when I start scrolling we have a background color. Initially we don't have any background color, but if I start scrolling we have the background color. So that's working perfectly. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the height from here, and then if I go here and if I refresh, you can see we have our navbar, but the navbar is not looking good because it doesn't have the background color. This background color will be coming from the hero section, and if I inspect, and this is our mobile navbar. So when we add our hero section, the navbar will looks nice. So for now, our navbar is completed. Now we are going to build the hero section. So if I show you the hero section, here you can see we have an image and we have some text description here. So to build this, I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code, and at the home folder, I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to name it hero. And inside this, I'm going to create a new file called hero.tsx, and I'm going to use RIFC to create the component boilerplate. Now I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to add this inside our home component. So here we are going to add our hero, and then I'm going to hit save. Now if I go here, you can see we have the text hero here. Next, for the first tip, we have a class name of width will be full, padding top will be 4 VH, and in medium screen, padding top will be 12 VH, height will be screen, BG will be hash 0f0715, and overflow will be hidden, and this one will be relative. Now if I hit save, here you can see now we have a proper background and the navbar is now looking very nice. So here we have our navbars and then this button. Inside this div, we have another div with class name of flex, justify will be center, flex will be in the column direction, width will be 4 by 5, that means 80%, height will be full, mx will be auto. Now if I hit save, so by doing this we make sure that our content is in the middle. So if I give a text here, you can see our text is now at the middle. Now inside this div, we have another div with class name of grid. Grid calls will be 1 in small devices, and in large screen grid calls will be 2. So we're dividing the space in two parts, one for the image and one for the text. Then the items will be center and gap will be 12. Now inside this div we first have the content. So this is for the content, and then we have image content. So here we have another div. So let's say it is text content and this is the image content. So we are dividing the space in two parts, one for the text content and one for the image content. Now here inside this div we have h1, and here we have I am, and then what we are going to do, if I go here in the data folder and the data.tsx, not tsx, data.ts, here you can see we export a constant of base info where we have name, position, description and profile pic. So we are going to import this in our hero component and we are going to use this information. If I go here and then here, first we have base info, so it's coming from data, you can see dot, then we have the name. Now this h1 will have a class name of text to excel. In medium screen text will be 3XL, in large screen text will be 4XL, margin bottom will be 5, text will be gray 300, and font will be semi-bold. Now if I hit save, Here you can see we have the information. I am Shajal, and here you can see we add this information from our data folder. After this H1, so this is the subtitle, or you can say sub heading, and then we have the title, and then we have H1, and this one will be base info dot position. So this H1 will have a class name of text bg, and this one is the custom class we are going to build in our global CSS for the linear gradient effect. And then here we have text of 3xl in smaller devices, text of 4xl in medium screen, text of 5xl in large screen, text will be 6xl, and extra large text will be 7xl. Font will be bold. In medium, leading will be 3.5 RAM, and in extra large, leading will be 3. Not 3.4 RAM, and text will be white. Now if I hit save, you can see we have our text here. So just like this one. Now to add the linear gradient effect, we have to make this text bg custom class work. So for this, I'm going to open my global CSS, and here I'm going to make text bg, and here first we have a background image. This one will be linear gradient to right, and then we have a color of hash 8750 f7, and then we have another color which is white, and here it will be 0%, and here will be 100%. Now if I hit save, you can see we have this background here. Then what we need to do, we have to do is background clip text. Now if I hit save, now you can see it's gone now. And then what we need to do is dash webkit background clip will be text, and webkit text fill color will be transparent. Now if I hit save, now you can see we have our beautiful text effect, linear gradient effect, just like this one. Next, go to the hero here, and here we have some mistake here. So in MD, the leading will be 3 RAM, 3 RAM, and in large screen, leading will be 3.5 RAM, and then in extra large, leading will be 4 RAM. Let's save, and here, so let's give this a margin bottom of 6. I think the gap is too big. Let's make it margin bottom 5. Now if I say, now it looks perfect, just like this one. Next we have this description and a button. So After the h1 we have description, and we have a p, and this one will be base info dot description, and this p will have a class name of margin top will be 6, text will be small, in medium screen text will be beige, text color will be white, and text opacity will be 60. Now let's hit save, and here you can see we have our description just like this one. Next we have this download CB button. So after the description we have button. So here we have a button, and inside this we have a span, we say download, and then we have a icon which is the download icon. So fa download, which is coming from React icon. Now this button will have a class name of, in medium screen px will be 8, and in medium py will be 2.5, in extra small devices px will be 6, and py will be 1.5, text will be white, font semi bold, text size will be small, in extra small devices, and medium it will be text large. We're going to use a transition of all, and duration will be 200 millisecond, and then rounded will be LG, in margin top it will be 8, and background will be blue 700, and in hover background will be blue 900, and this one will be flex, items will be center, and SpaceX will be 2. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our download button. So this one will be download CB. So let's add the text CB here. So download CB. Now if I hit save, now it looks good. So we have our download CB button. Next we have the images. So these images. So let's go to the code, and here the div have a class name of image will be auto. It will be hidden in small devices, and in large screen it will be block. Rounded will be 3 RAM. So rounded 3 RAM. Transition all. No, we do not need the transition here. Border will be 3.5 pixel. Border will be blue 950, and overflow will be hidden. And then inside this div we're going to use our Next.js image component, and then the source will be slash images slash, not this one, the source of the image will coming from our base info dot profile pic, and the alt will be base info dot name, and width will be 500, height will be 500. Now if I hit save, now here you can see we have our beautiful image, and this looks just like this one. So now if I inspect to see if this is mobile responsive or not, so in the mobile devices, let's select the mobile devices. You can see in mobile devices it looks very nice. Here we have the burger menu and the content, and in iPad devices it also looks very nice. And let's see in the iPad Pro, here this is also looks very nice. So our hero section is completed. Now we are going to build the about us section. If I show you the about section, here you can see we have some statistics and we have some text content. So to build it, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it about, and inside this I'm going to create a file called about.tsx, and then I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside our home component. So after the hero we have our about. Now hit save, and here you can see we have about. Now go to your about component, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and background color will be hash 050709. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the background color, so just like this one. Next, inside this div we have another reusable component, which is our section heading. So we are going to create a helper component which is section heading, so that we can reuse the section heading in all our other sections. So for this, inside the helper I'm going to create a file called section heading.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate. And here we are going to define a type because we are receiving a props here. So define props type, and this one will be type props, and here we are going to receive a children, and this one will be a type of React node. And then we are going to pass the props here, and we are going to receive the children, and then we are going to return a h1, and this will wrap our children. And inside this h1 we have a class name of bg will be blue 800, width will be feet, text will be center, px will be 4, py will be 3, image will be auto, text color will be white, text will be 2xl, and small and higher devices text will be 3xl, medium and higher devices text will be 4xl, and the text will be in uppercase, and we are going to use a minus rotation of 6. That means we are rotating minus 6 degree. Now I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to open the about section, and here we're going to use our section heading, and here we're going to pass our heading which is about me. Now if I hit save, there you can see we have our beautiful section heading, so just like this one. Next, after the section heading we have another div, and this div we are going to define our grid system, and we are going to divide the space in two parts, one for the stats and one for the text content. So here we have a class name of width 80%, mx will be auto, and we're going to use grid cost will be 1 for small devices, and in large screen grid cost will be 2, gap will be 8, item center and margin top will be 20. Now inside this div we have one for text content, and we have another div for stats content. Now for the first, we are going to design our text content. So first div, and inside this div we have h1, and here what we're going to do is, if I go to the data section, here you can see we export a constant which is about info. So we are going to use this information in our about section. So here you can see we have a title, description, client, experience, project, and website. You just need to change it according to your experience, according to your projects, and your website will be customized. So let's go to the about section. So here the h1 will have about info, so we're going to import it from our data, and dot title. Now this h1 will have a class name of text.bg, so we're going to use our reusable class that we create previously. Here you can see the text.bg to add our gradient effect in the text, so we're going to use it here, and that's the plus point of using a reusable class name. You do not need to repeat certain classes again and again. So after text.bg we have text of 26 pixel. In small devices text will be 3 pixel. In medium screen text will be 4 pixel. In a large screen text will be 5 pixel. Font will be bold, and text will be gray 200. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our title with the beautiful gradient effect. So just like this one. Next we have this description. So after the h1 we have a p tag, and here we're going to use about info dot description, and the p tag will have a class name of margin top will be 6, text will be base, and text color will be gray 500. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have our description. Next we have this list: front-end development, back-end development, and full stack development. So after the p we have another div with class name of margin top of 8, and inside this we have another div with class name of flex. Items will be center, SpaceX will be 2, and margin bottom will be 6. And then inside this we have another div with class name of width will be 7, height will be 7, bg will be blue 800, then it will be flex will be center, so flex will be in column direction, items will be center, and justify, no, we do not need, yes, we are going to use justify center. And then inside this div we are going to use an icon which is fa check from React icons, and this one will have a class name of text white. Now if I hit save, and you can see we have this checkbox which looks amazing. And then after this div we have a p tag with the text front end development, and this one will have a class name of text small. In small devices, text will be base. In medium, text will be large. Font will be bold, and text color will be gray 300. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have this beautiful front end development point here. So just like this one. Then we have two more, so I am going to copy this div two more time, and then you can create a reusable component for this if you want, but I am going to copy it here. And the second div, so here we have a mistake. So this is the main div and this is the item, so this one will be repeated. So let's copy it again, and this one will be backend development, and this one will change to bg orange. Now if I hit save, now you can see we have the 2 point, and let's copy it one more time, and the third one will be full stack, and the background will be bg green 800. Now if I hit save, and you can see we have our 3 point which looks exactly like this one, and it looks amazing. Next we are going to build this stats section. So let's go here, and this is our stat content, and for the first div we have a class name of grid calls will be 2, and gap will be 16, items will be center, and in large screen mx will be auto. Now inside this div we have another div, and inside this div we are going to use our image which is coming from next image, and here we are going to use the source. The source will be slash images slash customer dot png. The alt will be image, and width will be 80, height will be 80, and a class name of mx will be auto. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the image. Then after the image we have a p tag, and here we have about info dot client, and then we have another p with the text of satisfied customers. Now this p tag have a class name of margin top of 3, font will be bold, text excel, text will be white, and text center. And the second p tag will have a class name of text base. In smaller devices, text will be LG, text will be gray 400, and text center. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the image 50 plus satisfied client. So just like this one. Next we have this tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this div, and this is the first one. So this is the first card, or you can say first stat. Then this is the second stat, second stat. So the image will be experience experience.png, and here we have about info dot experience, and here it will be the text years experience. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the second one. Then this is the third stats. So the image here it will be changed, and this one will be completed .png, and the content will be about info dot project, and this text will be completed project, and this is the fourth one. So fourth stat, and the image will be rocket.png, and this one will be about info dot website, and the text will be website launched. Now if I hit save, now you can see we have our stats, and this looks very nice. So just like this one. Now let me check if this is responsive or not. So if I inspect, and if I select mobile devices, you can see in mobile devices it fit perfectly with the screen size. And let's see in iPad devices. In iPad you can see it also looks very nice. And now if in iPad Pro, here it also looks very nice. So our about me section is completed. Next, we are going to build the services section. So if I show you, here you can see the services section, we have some services card with cool hover effect. So to build this section, first I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I am going to name it services. Then inside this folder, I am going to create a file called services.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside our home. So after the about, we're going to have our services. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our services text. Now let's go to your services component, and the first div will have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and background of hash 0f 0715. And then inside this div we're going to have our section heading. So section heading, and the heading will be services. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have the background and our heading, which is services. Next, after this heading, we have our grid system. So in this div we're going to use a class name of grid. Grid calls will be 1. In small devices, grid calls will be 2. In large screen, grid calls will be 3. And in extra large screen, grid calls will be 4. And we have a gap of 10. Width will be 80%. MX will be auto, and then we have items of center, and margin top will be 20. Now if I hit save, and then inside this what I'm going to do is, if I go to the data section, you can see we have the services data. Here we have some ID and the title of the services, the description, and the icon of the services. So we're going to use this data for our services. Here we have 8 data, so we're going to use this data. So in services, inside this div, we're going to use our services data, which is coming from our data folder, and then we're going to map through it, and we're going to get an individual service, and then here we're going to return a div, and here we're going to pass the key, which is services dot id, and then inside this div we're going to create a reusable component, which is service card. So for individual service we are going to create a service card. So for this, inside the service folder I'm going to create another file, which is service card.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and for every card we're going to render this service card. So now if I hit save, here you can see we have services card text. Now let's pass the props here. So we're going to pass service props, which is will be the service object. Now it's complaining because we do not have the proper type definition in our service card. So if you hover, you can see they give you a type. So I'm going to copy this one. So this is a service object where we have ID, title, description, and icon. So I'm going to copy this, and then in service card we're going to define the props type, and here we are going to have a type of props, which will be this one, services, and this service will have the following properties: ID of number, title of string, description of string, and icon of string. Now we are going to pass it here. So props. Now you can see the complaint is gone. So next what we are going to do is, so if I show you the deployed version, here you can see this card have this nice looking 3D types hover effect. So to achieve this, we are going to use a npm package. So the npm package we are going to use is react parallax tilt. So if I go to their npm packages, here you can see they have the demo, the documentation. You can learn more about this and you can customize as you want. So for now I am going to copy their npm script and then paste it here to install the package. Now it will install the packages in our project. So it's start downloading. So now package is installed successfully. Now what we are going to do is, I am going to remove this, and we are going to wrap everything in tilt. So first let's import it. So import tilt from react parallax tilt, and here we're going to wrap everything, and this tilt we're going to give a class name of shadow to excel, padding will be 6, and rounded will be large, and background will be hash 814 CED. Now if I hit save, and here we have some error because these packages To use these packages, we have to convert this into a client component. So I'm going to convert it into a client component using the use client. Now it will works. So if I go here, and here you can see we have the box with this cool effect, hover effect. Now let's add the content here. So inside this field, we first have an image which is coming from Next.js, and let's import the services here, and then the source will be service dot icon, and alt will be service dot title. The width will be 50, height will be 50, and after this we have a h1 with service dot title. Then we have a p with service dot description. Now for the h1 we have a class name of margin top of 4, text will be large, font will be bold, and text color will be gray 100. And for the p tag we have a class name of margin top of 3, text will be small, text color will be white, and text opacity will be 80. Now if I hit save, and if I go here, so here we have some error. So let's go to see what's happened here. So let's make this. So add this inside a template literal to convert this into a string. So services dot icon. Now if I hit save, now we have the error. So the error is gone. Now the problem is I forgot to save this file services.tsx. That's why the error happened. So now if I go to our project, now you can see we have our services card with this beautiful hover effect. Now let's check if this is responsive or not. So if I inspect, and if I select the iPhone devices, here you can see in mobile devices it fit perfectly. Let's check on the iPad devices. It also looks amazing. Let's select another type of devices, iPad Pro, and here it's also fit perfectly. So our services section is completed. Next, we're going to build the project section. So if I show you the project section, here you can see we have some project here display nicely. So to build this section, I am going to open my home folder, and inside the home folder I am going to create a new folder, and I'm going to name it project, and inside this I'm going to create a file called project.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside the home. So after the services we are going to add our project. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the project text. So now in the project component, so for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and background will be hash 05 07 09. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the background. Next, inside this we have the section heading. So I'm going to use the section heading component, and the heading will be my project. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the text heading my project. So after this, we have a div for our grid system. So this div have a class name of width will be 80%, mx will be auto, margin top will be 20. We're going to use grid calls will be 1. In medium screen, grid calls will be 2. In large screen, grid calls will be 3. Gap will be 12. Items will be center. Now inside this div, we are going to use this. So if I show you, so this project data, so we are going to use this project data in our project component. So here you can see we have a id, a image, and a url for our project live link. So you can add your project link here. So now in the not the services, in the projects, here I am going to use the project data, and I'm going to map through it to get an individual project, and then I'm going to return a div, and here we're going to pass the key which will be project dot id, and then inside this div we have a link which is coming from next link, and then inside this link we have a image. So this image will be coming from next image, and then the link will have a href, and the href will be project dot url. Now this image will have a source, and the source will be project dot image, and then an alt which will be project, and in the link we're going to use another property which is target, and we're going to use blank so that when someone click our project it will open a new windows in the browser. And then if I hit save, now for the first div we have a class name of bgblow 950, padding will be 6, rounded will be lg, in hover scale will be 105, and transition will be all, and duration will be 300 milliseconds. Now for the image we have a class name of mx, not mx, width will be 4. Now if I hit save, and here maybe we have some error, so let's see what we miss here. So we miss the height and width of our image. So the width will be 300 and height will be 300. Now height will be 200. Now if I save, and here you can see we have our projects. So they are beautifully aligned and they have hover effect, and if I click any of these it will open a new window and the project. So now this is another project. So now let's close this, and if I show you the responsiveness, so if I inspect and select mobile devices, you can see in mobile devices the project section fit perfectly with the viewport height, and if I show you in the iPad mini, you can see it's also fit perfectly. And if I use iPad Pro, here it also looks very nice. So our project section is completed. Next, we are going to build the skill section. So if I show you the skill section, here you can see we have some skills card with hover effect. So now we are going to build this section. So to build this, I am going to open my Visual Studio Code, and in the home folder, I am going to create a new folder and I am going to name it skills. And inside this, I am going to create a file called skills.tsx. And here I am going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside our home component. So here, after the project, we are going to add our skills. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our skills text. Now go to your skills.tsx, and for the first tip, we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and background will be hash 0f0715. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our background. Next, we are going to add our section heading. So we are going to use section heading component, and here the heading will be my skills. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our heading my skills. Next, we have another div where we are going to define our grid system for our cars, and this div have a class name of padding top of 20, width will be 80%, mx will be auto, we're going to use grid calls will be 1, and in small and large screen grid calls will be 2, and in medium screen grid calls will be 3, and in large screen grid calls will be 4, and in extra large screen grid calls will be 5. And then we have a gap of 4, and items will be center. Now inside this div, what we are going to do is, if I go to the data section, here you can see we have a skills data section where we have ID and title, image, and percentage of how much you are confident about your skill. So here you can see we have 10 skills. You can add skills based on your knowledge. So we're going to use this skill data. So in our skills section here, and inside this div, we are going to use our skills data, and then we're going to map through it, and we're going to get an individual skill object, and then we're going to return a div, and here we're going to pass the key will be skill dot id, and then inside this div we're going to create a reusable skill card component. So for every skill we're going to show a skill card, and that's why we're going to build a reusable component for this. So in the skills folder I'm going to create another file called skill card.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And then in the skill folder, so here we are going to render a individual card for every skill, so skill card, and here we are going to pass the prop skill, which will be the skill object. Now if I hit save, here it's complaining, so if I hover over, you can see they will give you the type. So just copy this and then go to the skill card section, and here at the top we are going to define our props type. So type props will be skills object which contains id, title, image, and percentage. So here I am going to add our props, and then here we will get skills. What you can do here is you can further destructure skills. So skill, and here you can destructure image, percent, and title, so that you do not need to use the skill.image, skill.percent, and skill.title here. So now what I'm going to do is, for the first div, we have a class name of padding will be 6. In hover, the background will be bg blue 900. Duration will be 300 because we are going to add a transition here, and the transition will be all, and cursor will be pointer, text will be center, and rounded will be large, and initial background will be bg gray 900. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have skill card here, and we have the hover effect. Now we have to put the right content here. So now inside this div, first we are going to use an image which is coming from next image. So we are going to import it, and the source will be image, and the alt will be title, and width will be 80, height will be 80, and we are going to use a class name of object cover, and mx will be auto. Now if I hit save, and if I go to the project, here you can see we have the image which looks very nice. So next what we have is we have h1 with title, and this h1 will have a class name of text 18 pixel, margin top will be 4, text will be white, font will be 600. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our text here. So this is React, CSS, JavaScript, and that looks very nice. Next we have a div, and here we have our percent. So you can see say the progress, and this div have a class name of background will be black, margin top will be 4, rounded will be LG, padding will be 2, text will be white, opacity will be 40. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our percentage here which looks very nice. And if I show you the responsiveness, and if I select mobile devices, you can see we have one card in mobile devices and which fit perfectly, and in the iPad we have 3 cards which looks very nice, and in iPad Pro we have 4 cards and this also looks very nice. So our skill section is completed. Next we are going to build the client review section. So if I show you the client review section, here you can see we have this beautiful slider where you can slide from left to right or right to left. Now we're going to build this section. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it reviews, and then inside this I'm going to create a file called reviews.tsx, and then I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside my home component. So in the home, after the skill, we are going to add our reviews. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have the text reviews. Next, go to your reviews component, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and background will be hash 050709. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our background. Then after this div, and inside this div we are going to have our section heading. So section heading, and the heading will be client reviews. Now if I hit save, now here we have our section heading. Then after this section heading we have another div with class name of width will be 90%. In small and high devices the width will be 80%, mx will be auto, and margin top will be 20. Now inside this div we are going to build a custom reusable component which is slider. So by using some reusable components we can maintain our code properly. So in the review section I'm going to create a new folder, not new folder, a new component which is slider.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then here we are going to add our slider. Now to create this slider we are going to use a npm package. So the npm package we are going to use here is npm react multi-carousel. So if I search here you can see this is the react multi-carousel. So they have the demo, the documentation. If you want you can learn more about it. So first I am going to install it. So I'm going to copy that npm script and I am going to paste it here and hit enter. And next what I am going to do is, here you can see first we have to import this carousel and the styling. So I'm going to copy this, and then at the top we're going to paste it. And one thing is, to use this carousel we have to convert this component into a client component. That's why I'm going to convert it a client component using the use client at the top. Next what we need is, so we need this responsive variable for our responsive slider. So I'm going to copy this constant, and then at outside of the function I am going to paste it, and I am going to change some parameters. So in desktop the maximum will be 3000 and minimum will be 1324, and items will be 3, and slides to slide, that means one items will be slide. In tablet the max will be 1324 and min will be 764. The items will be 2 and slides to slide will be 1. And in mobile devices the max will be 764 and min will be 0. Items will be 1 and slides to slide will be 1. Next, here I'm going to remove this tip and I'm going to use the carousel here, and this carousel we have to pass some parameters here. So first we have the arrows will be true. Then we have autoplay which will be true, and autoplay speed will be 5000 milliseconds, that means 5 seconds. Then it will be infinite, and in responsive we are going to pass our responsive variable. And inside this carousel what I'm going to do is, if I go to the data section you can see we have a client review section, client review data, where we have the name, review rating, the profession of the client, and the image. So we're going to use this data. So I'm going to use the client review and I'm going to map through it, and I will get an individual review object, and then I'm going to return a div, and this div will have a key which is review dot, let's say the image. For now let's use image, and then inside this we are going to use another custom component here which is review card. So let me create it here in the reviews folder. So review card.tsx. So I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then here in the slider, so for individual review we are going to render the review card, and we are going to pass a props which is review object. Now we have to use this type in our review card, so I'm going to copy this and go to the review card, and here at the top we have props type. So here we will have a type props, and this will be review object which contains name, review, rating, profession and image. And here I'm going to pass our prop and import the review, and then I'm going to further destructure the review and extract the image, then name, the profession, the rating and review. So it have some issues, so let's say client review. So we are importing review and we are changing its name to client review. That's it. Now for the first div we have a class name of rounded md, overflow will be hidden, and background will be hash 140c 1c, and margin will be 4. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have our card and we have the button and it's already sliding. Next, inside this div we have another div with class name of padding 6, and inside this div we have an image which is coming from next image, and here the source will be image, the alt will be name, and then width will be 50, height will be 50, and if I hit save, here you can see we have our image, but not this image we are going to need here. This one will be slash images slash q.png, and alt will be code, let's say image. Now if I hit save, so we need these icons here. So if I go to the deployed version, so this is the image we are using here. So after this we have a p tag with our review, so we make it client review, so we rename it to client review, and this p tag will have a class name of text white, text opacity will be 70. Now if I hit save, Here you can see we have our review. So just like this one. Next we have the same image here. So I am going to copy this image, Ctrl C, and then paste it here. And here we have a class name, and we're going to make it margin left auto. So now if I save, now you can see it looks very nice now. And we have the sliding effect. And next we have this review box here. So after this div, we have another div with class name of px will be 6, py will be 3, margin bottom will be 3, width will be feet, mx will be auto, rounded will be full, it will be a flex, items will be center, SpaceX will be 3, bg will be indigo 900, text will be white, and font will be bold. Now inside this div we have a span with our rating, and then we have a slash and then 5, and then we have an icon which is fa star icon coming from react icon, and this icon will have a class name of text yellow 400. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our review box, rating box, which looks amazing. Next we have this client information. So let's go to our project. So after this div we have another div with class name of bg will be gray 100, and then inside this div we have another div with class name of padding will be 6, it will be flex, item will be center, and SpaceX will be 6. Now inside this div we have another div for the image, and here we are going to import our image from next image, and this will be self closing, and the source will be image, alt will be name, and width will be 40, height will be 40, and the class name will be rounded full. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our user image which looks very nice, and we have the white background. Now next, after this div we have another div, and inside this div we have h1 with the client name and a p tag with the client profession. Now this h1 will have a class name of text lg, font will be bold, and the p tag will have a class name of text base, text will be gray 700. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have the client name and profession. We have the sliding from left to right and left to right. And if I wait sometimes, you can see the auto sliding, so everything works properly. Now let me show you the responsiveness. So if I inspect and select the mobile devices like iPhone, you can see now we have one card and this looks very nice. Let me show you the iPad version. So here we have two cards, and if I show you the iPad Pro, here we also have two cards and it looks very nice. So our client review section is completed. Next, we are going to build the block section. So if I show you the block section, here you can see we have three blocks with image, some text and some hover effect. Now we are going to build this section. So to build it, I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it block. And then inside this, I'm going to create a file called block.tss. And I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside our home component. So after the review, we're going to add our block. Now if I hit save and go to our project, you can see we have our block text. So now go to your block.tsx, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, and background will be hash 0f0715. Now if I hit save and then inside this div we will have our section heading. So I'm going to use our section heading component, and the heading will be our block. Now if I go to our project, you can see the background and the section heading. So after the heading, we have another div with class name of width will be 80%, mx will be auto, then we have margin top of 20. We're going to use grid calls will be 1 for small devices, and in medium screen grid calls will be 2, and in extra large grid calls will be 3, and gap will be 12, items will be center. And now if I hit save and then inside this div, what I'm going to do is, so let me show you the data we are going to use here. So here we have a blocks data where we have id, title, a summary, and a date and a image URL. So we have three blocks and we're going to use this in our block component. So let's go back to our block, and inside this I'm going to use blocks, and it will coming from our data folder and data.ts, and I'm going to map through it, and we'll get a individual block object, and then I'm going to return a div, and here we have to pass a key. The key will be block dot id, and then inside this we are going to create a component of block card. So now if I create a file here called block card.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this here. So for individual block card, so individual block object, we are going to display a block card. So block card, and here we are going to pass a props of block, which will be our block object. Now if I hit save and it's complaining about the type, the same trick, just hover here and you will get the proper type here. Just copy it and then go to the block card, and here we are going to define props type. It will be a type of props, and then paste it here. So it will be a block of object, and the property will be id, title, summary, date and image. Now we're going to pass it here, props. Now you can see the warning is gone. Here I'm going to import the block, and then I'm going to further structure our block, and we will get the date, the image, the summary, the title, and we do not need the ID here. Now for the first div, we have a class name of bg will be indigo 950. Then we have rounded off md, and overflow will be hidden. Now inside this div, we have an image which is coming from next image, and here the source will be image, the alt will be title, and then the width will be 300, height will be 300, and it will have a class name of width full, height will be 250 pixel, and object will cover. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, here you can see we have three beautiful image with a rounded corner. Next what we have is, so after the image we have another div, and this will have a class name of padding of 6, and then inside this div we will have a p tag, and it will say news, and this p tag will have a class name of rounded small, px will be 6, py will be 1.5, background will be rows 500, text color will be white, width will be fit. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have this news box here just like this one, and then we have, after the p we have h1 with title, and here we have a class name of, in small devices text will be large, otherwise text will be base, cursor will be pointer, in hover text will be gray 100, in hover we're going to add an underline, and we're going to use a transition all, duration will be 200 millisecond, then we have margin top of 6, margin bottom of 2, text color will be gray 200, and leading will be 1.6 RAM, and font bold. Now if I hit save, as you can see we have our title with hover effect and the underline which looks very nice. So just like this one. Next we have a summary of our block. So after the h1 we have a p with summary, and this p will have a class name of text small, font will be semi bold, so font semi bold, text opacity will be 70, and then we have text gray 400, text gray 400. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our short summary here just like this one. Then we have this date and a read more button. So after the p we have a div with class name of padding top of 4, not padding, margin top of 4, margin bottom of 4, width will be full, height will be 1.5 pixels. So this one is for the line, I think. So this line, so this div is for this line. The height will be 1.5 pixel. Then we have bg of gray 400 and opacity will be 45. And if I hit save, here you can see we have this line here. So after this div, we have another div with class name of flex. Items will be center and justify will be between. And then inside this div, we have a h1 with date, and then we have a button with the text read more. And this h1 will have a class name of text small, text gray 300, font will be bold. And the button will have a class name of text base. In hover, text will be rows 500, text will be gray 200, then it will be underline, font will be bold. So font bold. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have the date and read more button, which looks very beautiful, just like this one. Now let's check if this is mobile responsive or not. So if I inspect, and in the iPad Pro, you can see it's fit perfectly. Now let's see iPad mini. In iPad mini we have 2 cards and it also looks very nice. Then let's go for the mobile, and mobile we have one block card here and it also looks very nice. So our block section is completed. Next we are going to build a contact section. So if I show you, here you can see we have a beautiful contact form, and then here we have some information. So now we are going to build this section. So to build this, first I am going to open my code editor, and here in home I am going to create another folder called contact, and here inside this I am going to create a file called contact.tsx, and then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside our home. So here after the block we're going to add our contact. Now I'm going to hit save, and if I go to our project, here you can see we have our contact text. So now let's close all of this, and then go to your contact. The first div have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, background will be hash 050709, and if I hit save, and here you can see we have our background. Next inside this div we have another div with class name of grid. So we're using grid to divide this into two parts, one for our contact form and one for our contact information. So here we have a grid. Grid calls will be 1 in small devices. In extra large, grid calls will be 2. Width will be 90%. And small and large devices, width will be 80%. MX will be auto. Items will be center, gap will be 10, and margin top will be 10. Now inside this div we will have a contact form. So this is the div for contact form, and then we have contact info. So this is the div for contact info. Now what I am going to do is I am going to create two files for our contact form and contact information. So inside our contact I am going to create another file called contact form.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and I'm going to create another one which is contact info.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. Now I'm going to add these two inside our contact folder. So here inside this div we are going to have our contact form, and then inside this div we will have our contact info. So now if I hit save and if I go to our project, here you can see we have contact info and contact form. If I go to the deployed version, so this is the contact form and this is the contact info. So now first we are going to start with the contact form. So let's go to your contact form component, and here for the first div we have a class name of background will be hash 140c1c, and then we have rounded of lg, and padding will be 4, and smaller devices padding will be 10. And then inside this div we have h1 with the text of let's work together, and this h1 will have a class name of textbg, which is our custom classes for the linear gradient, and then it will be text to excel. In medium screen text will be 3xl, and in large screen text will be 2.5 gram, and font will be bold. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have our background, so we have our text, this works together, and it looks nice. So let's make it smaller case, and here add this. So it's complaining because of the yes link. Just click here to quick fix and disable it. Now if you hit save, now it looks more nice. So next what we have after the h1, we have a p tag with some random text. So I'm going to use lorem if some to generate some random text, and I'm going to use 15 here. So if you want to generate random text, you need to install an extension. So the extension is called this one, the lorem itself. This will generate random text for your website. Now this p will have a class name of text gray 200, margin top will be 3, in large screen text will be base, and text will be extra small, in medium screen text will be small. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our small description, so just like this one. And next we have this input field. So after the p we have input fields. So first we have a form here, so form, and we do not need any action here. In the form will have a class name of padding top of 8, not padding top, margin top of 8, it will be block, width will be full, and overflow will be hidden. And then inside this form, first we have a div with class name of flex. Flex will be in the column direction, and in medium screen flex will be in row. Items will be center, and justify will be between, and gap will be 4. Now inside this div we have an input of type text. The placeholder will be first name, and this input will have a class name of flex1. bg will be black, text will be white, placeholder text will be gray 600. Then we have px will be 6, py will be 3, rounded will be md, and border will be 1.5 pixel. Border will be gray 200, and border opacity will be 15. Outline will be none, and width will be full. Now we have another one input, so I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and this one will be last name. Now if I hit save, as you can see we have two input field, one for first name and last name. Then we have two more for email address and phone number, so which looks exactly same. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and this one will have a extra class of padding top of 5 for some margin, top of 5 for some space, and then this one will be type of email, and that placeholder will be email address, and then this one will be type of text, and placeholder will be phone number. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our email address and phone number just like this one. Then we have a select box to select a service option like front-end development, back-end development, or full stack development. So for this, after this div we have another div, and inside this div we have a select and not section, we have a select, and for the select we do not need any name and id here, but we're going to have a class name, and the class name will be with full, margin top will be 5, bg will be black, text will be white, placeholder text will be gray 600, px will be 4, py will be 3.5, and then we have rounded of md, and then we have border of 1.5 pixel, border gray 200, border opacity will be 15 and outline will be none. Now inside this select box we have an option, and first one, the value will be none and it will be disabled, and here it will be selected and the text will be select an option. And next we have another option and the value will be front end and the text will be front end development. Now I'm going to copy it 2 more times. The second one, the value will be backend and the text will be backend development, and this one will be full stack and the text will be full stack development. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have select an option. If I click here we have front end, back end and full stack, which looks very nice. So after this select we have a text area. So if I show you the deployed version, so after the select we have a text area to send a message. So now after this div we will have a text area and we do not need any name and ID. The row will be 7 here and the placeholder will be message. And for the class name I'm going to copy it from here, so this one, so copy this and paste it here. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our message box here, and next we have this send message button. So here we have the select option, then the message, and after this text area we have another div with class name of margin top of 4, and inside this we have a button to send message, and this button will have a class name of px will be 8, py will be 3.5, background will be hash 7947 df, and in text will be white, and then we have in hover the background will be changed to hash 5c 2f b7, and then we are going to use the transition all, duration will be 150 and rounded full. Now if I hit save, here you can see we have our send message button, which looks very nice. So our form looks very nice, just like this one. Next what we need to do is we need to create this form info section. So let's go to the code and here go to the contact info, and contact info inside this div we have another div with class name of flex, items will be center and SpaceX will be 8. Now inside this div we will have another div with class name of width will be 10, height will be 10. In medium, width will be 16. In medium, height will be 16. Rounded will be full. BG will be gradient to R, and from imret 500 to imret to emerald 900, and it will be flex. Items will be center, justify center, and flex will be in column direction. And then inside this div we have an icon of FA phone, and this icon will have a class name of width will be 4, height will be 4, and in medium screen width will be 7, and in medium screen height will be 7, and text color will be white. Now if I hit save and go here you can see we have our phone icon, which looks very nice. And one thing that we are missing here, in the contact, so this contact info div, we have a class name, and the class name will be in extra large. The mx will be auto. Now if I hit save, and here you can see it's in the middle. So after this icon we have a after this div we have another div, and inside this div we have a h1, and it will be phone, and this div don't have any class name, and we have another h1, and this one will be contact data dot phone. And if I go to the data, you can see we have a contact data where we have phone number, email, and addresses. So we are using the phone number from here. And now this h1 will have a class name of text large. In smaller devices, text will be Excel, and text will be white, font will be bold. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have the text phone, and now this h1 will have a class name of text base. In smaller devices, text will be LG, text white, text opacity will be 70. Now if I hit save, so this one is our phone number, and this looks like exactly like this one. And next we have two more. One is for email address and another one is addresses. So I'm going to copy this one. So let's go here, and we're going to copy this two more time. Now if I hit save, and here you can see we have two more, and we have to make it more looks good. So for the second one, this second div will have a margin top of 8 and margin bottom of 8, and this one will be the text email address, and this one will be contact data dot email, And the third one here, it will be address, and this one will be contact data dot address. Now if I hit save, now you can see we have our phone, email address, and our address. Now what we need to do is we need to change the icon here. You can see here we have a email icon and here we have a map icon. So let's go here. For the third one we have a map icon, which is if a map, and then for the second one we have a fa envelope, which is coming from React icons. Now if I save, now you can see we have our phone icon, our email icon, our map icon, and this section looks very nice and attractive. Now if I show you the responsiveness, so if I inspect and if I select a mobile devices, and here you can see this is our form in mobile. It looks very nice. We have all the field, and then this one is our info. This is also looks very nice. Next, let me show you the iPad version. In iPad this also looks very nice, and in the iPad Pro it's also fit perfectly. So our contact section is completed. Next we are going to build the footer. So if I show you the footer, here you can see we have an image and some of the links and a copyright text. So now we are going to build the footer. So for this I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it footer. Inside this I'm going to create a file called footer.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add the footer in our layout so that all the page have the access to the footer. So here after the children we're going to add the footer. Now go to your footer, and for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, background will be hash 0f0715, and then inside this div we have another div, and then inside this div we are going to use our Next.js image component. We are going to import image from next image, and the source will be slash images slash logo.png. The alt will be logo, and then the width will be 180 and height will be 180, and class name will be mx auto. Then if I show you here, you can see we have our logo here, WebDev. After the image and div we have another div with class name of flex. Items will be center, flex will be wrap, justify will be center, SpaceX will be 10, space y will be 4, and text will be wide, and font bold. Now inside this div we have another div. So we have basically 5 div, and for the first one we have home, then we have services, then we have projects, next we have reviews, and then we have contact. If you want, you can use link here. So after this we have a p, and the content I'm going to copy it from the deployed one. So this is the deployed version, so let's copy this one. So if I copy, and I'm going to paste it here, and this p will have a class name of text wide, text opacity will be 60, and margin top will be 6, text will be center, and that's it. So if I hit save, and as you can see we have our copyright text, so just like this one. Now if I show you the responsiveness in iPad Pro, you can see it looks good. In iPad mini it also looks good, and in mobile devices it also fit nicely. So our footer section is completed. Next we are going to build a scroll to top button. So if I show you here, you can see we have a button. So if I click here, it will go to the top. So this is the scroll to top button, and one thing is, if you can see initially it's hidden, but when I start scrolling it will appear on the screen, and if I click here it will smoothly go to the top. Now we are going to build this feature. So to build this feature, what we are going to do is I am going to create a new file in my helper folder, and I'm going to name it scroll to top.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our layout folder so that all the page have the access to this feature. So after the footer, I'm going to add our scroll to top component. Now if I hit save, and then let's go to the scroll to top. So here we are going to use state and use effect. That's why I'm going to make it a client component using use client. And now here first I'm going to do is I'm going to create a state variable, and this one will be is visible, and state is visible, and we're going to use state, and initially it will be false, and then I'm going to use the use effect, and here we're going to add the dependency array, and inside this I'm going to create a function called toggle visibility to show and hide our button, to scroll to top button. So this one will be an arrow function, and inside this we're going to check if scroll y, so window dot scroll y, window dot scroll y, so scroll in the y direction is greater than 300, then we are going to set our is visible state to true, and else we are going to set our is visible state false. So if we scroll 300 pixel, we are going to make our is visible variable true, otherwise it will be false. And then on the windows we are going to add event listener on window, so window dot add event listener, and we are going to listen for scroll event, and in the scroll event we are going to call our toggle visibility, and then we are going to write a cleanup function, so return, and it will be an arrow function, and we are going to copy this, and in cleanup function we are removing the event listener, so window dot remove event listener. That's it. That is our functionality for show and hide our button. Next, we are going to create a function that will go to the top when we click on the button. So this one will be scroll to top function, and inside this we are going to use window dot scroll to. So we are going to scroll to top will be 0, so we are going to scroll to the top, and the behavior we want here is smooth, so we smoothly go to the top. So these are two functions for two functionality, one for show and hide the button and one for go to the top. Now here we are going to style the button. So first div have a class name of fixed, bottom will be 4, and we are going to use the animate pause. So this is the built-in animation in Tailwind CSS, and right will be 4. Now inside this div we are going to check if is visible is true, then we are going to show a button, and in the button, inside this button we are going to use a icon which is fa arrow up. It's coming from React icon. And now let's style the button. So the button will have a class name of bgblue 900, text will be white, rounded will be full, width will be 12, height will be 12, it will be flex, items will be center, justify will be center, and on focus the outline will be none. Now if I hit save, and when we click on this button, so in on click we're going to run our scroll to top function which will go to the top. So now if I hit save, and let's go to our project, so let's go to the top and refresh the page, and now if I start scrolling you can see the button appear. Now if I click here it will go to the top, so you can see it's hidden and then it's appear, and if I click here it will smoothly go to the top. So this feature works perfectly. So the scroll to top feature is completed. Next we are going to customize our cursor and scroll bar. So in the deployed version for the cursor you can see we have this beautiful customized cursor. So to build this cursor we are going to use the npm packages that will make easy to customize our cursor. So the npm package we are going to use is React animated cursor. So if you go to their npm packages, here they have some demo, some documentation, you can learn more about it. So first I am going to copy their npm script and then paste it here to install the React animated cursor. Now I am going to open my layout folder, and then I am going to open their npm packages React animated cursor, and you can see first we have to import the animated cursor from React animated cursor. So I'm going to copy this. You can learn more about how to customize the cursor. You can see they have a lot of properties that you can change. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here, the animated cursor, and you can see the package is installed successfully. Now in the body what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a div, and then inside this div we're going to add our animated cursor. Now for the div we're going to add a class name. So the class name we're going to add is hidden. So in mobile devices we don't need the cursor, so we're going to make it hidden in mobile devices, and in medium screen we're going to make it block. And now for the animated cursor, we're going to pass some parameter here. So first one is inner size. The inner size will be 8. You can play with the value to see which one fit perfectly for you. And for the outer size, I'm going to use 35. And then we have inner scale. For the inner scale, I'm going to use 2. And then for the outer scale, I'm going to use 2. Then for the outer alpha, I'm going to use 0. Next we have inner style. So the inner style, we're going to add inside a object, and we're going to add background color, and we're going to make it white. Now if I hit save, it will format the document. And after the inner style, we're going to define our outer style. And the outer style, I'm going to add a border here, and border will be 3 pixel solid, and color will be white. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, and if I reload the page, now you can see we have our beautifully customized cursor. So you can hover here, you can see this looks very nice. So the inside ball is the inner style, and the outside border is the outside style, outer style. So you can see our cursor looks very nice, and you can see how easy it is to customize using this package. So our custom cursor looks very nice, and it's completed now. Next we are going to customize our scroll bar. You can see this is the boring scroll bar that we have. So we are going to change this. So to change this, I am going to open my global.css, and then inside this component here I am going to create a custom class which is custom scroll bar. And in this scroll bar we are going to access the WebKit scroll bar, and here the width will be 10 pixel and height will be 10 pixel. Now I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to add this in our layout and in the HTML. So here in the HTML I'm going to give a class name of custom scroll bar. Now if I hit save, and if I go here, you can see our boring scroll bar is gone. Here we have the customized one. Then we are going to make it more beautiful. So let's go to the global CSS, and after this we are going to add a dot custom scroll bar and dash WebKit scroll track, and here we're going to add a background of hash 44028f. Now if I hit save, and now you can see the background is changed, and now it's the blue color. Next what we are going to do is we're going to use dot custom scroll bar and then dash WebKit scroll thumb. So this one, scroll bar thumb, and here we are going to add a background of hash c22 hash c277fa. Now if I hit save, and then we are going to add a border radius of 4 pixel. Now if I hit save, now you can see we have this beautiful customized scroll bar which looks very premium. So our custom cursor and our custom scroll bar is completed. Now we are going to add some scroll animation in our project to make it more attractive. So to add the scroll animation, we are going to use a npm package which is AOS animation on scroll. So if I go to their GitHub page, here you can see they have a lot of different types of animation like fade, then they have flip, so flip left, flip right, flip up, flip down. They have the zoom animation. So they have a lot of different types of animation. And the good thing is you just need to add a data attributes to your div that you are going to animate on scroll. So here you can see it's add data dash AOS zoom out left. So by adding this, you are going to achieve this zoom out left animation in your scroll. So this is a very awesome animation library, and it's very easy to add animation in our project using this AOS. Now I am going to go to their GitHub pages, and then I am going to copy the npm script from here. So this is the script npm install AOS next. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here to install the package. Next, we're going to configure our AOS in the home folder. So in the home folder, home.tsx file. So here we are going to customize our animation on scroll package. So if I go to their packages, here you can see first we have to import the AOS and the corresponding style. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Now you can see it's complaining because of the type, so we need to install the type here. So copy this npm I dash dash save dash tab at the rate types slash AOS. So copy this and paste it here to install the proper type for this. And another thing is to use the AOS, we have to convert this component into a client component. So I am going to convert this into a client component using the use client directive at the top. Now it's converted into client component. So now what we are going to do is in the home I am going to use effect, and then here I'm going to add the dependency array, and inside this first I'm going to create a function called init AOS, and this will be an async function, and then here we're going to use await import AOS, and then I'm going to use AOS.init, and then here I'm going to pass some parameter. So what I'm going to pass is first the duration. This one will be 1000 milliseconds, that means 1 second. The easing will be is, and then we have once will be true, and finally anchor placement. So this one will be true, and anchor placement will be top bottom. Now if I hit save, and if you go to their GitHub page, you can see they have a lot of options that you can customize. You can learn more about by reading their documentation. So for now so next what I'm going to do is first I'm going to add animation in our hero section. So I'm going to open the hero component. So in the hero.tsx, and first for this text content, this h1, we're going to add animation here. So we're going to use data dash AOS, and we're going to use fade left. You can use anything you want, and I'm going to hit save. Next for this h1, we're going to use data dash AOS fade right, and also I'm going to add another property which is data dash AOS dash delay. So what I want is first this h1 will animate, and after some delay this h1 will animate, and this looks very nice. So the delay will be 100 millisecond. Then we have this p. So here I am going to use data dash aos, and this one will be fade right again, fade, not fade right, fade left, and data dash aos dash delay will be 200 milliseconds. Now I'm going to copy these two, and then I'm going to paste it in the button, and I'm going to change the animation here. So for the button we're going to use zoom in, and the delay will be 300 milliseconds. And next we have the image. So in this image, so this tip I'm going to copy the previously copied data dash aos and data dash aos dash delay property, and this one will be zoom in, and the delay will be 400 milliseconds. Now if I hit save and if I refresh the page, so here's something wrong. Let me refresh again. So something is not working. So the problem is in home.tsx we don't call this function. So after initializing we need to call it. So here we're going to call init aos. Now this will work. Now let's go to our hero, and now if I reload the page, you can see the beautiful animation here. If I reload again, you can see the beautiful animation which looks very nice. Next we're going to add animation in our about me section. So let's open about me. So this is the folder about.tsx, and in the about me, first this div. Here in this div we are going to add data dash aos, and here we are going to add fade left, and then we are going to add another property data dash aos dash anchor placement, anchor placement, and this one will be top center. And I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to copy these two. So this one will be not here but in this text content. So here. Next we're going to add animation to our stat div. So here I'm going to paste the previously copied animation property, and then here we're going to use zoom in, and we're going to add a delay. So data dash aos delay, and we're going to delay of 150 milliseconds. Now if I hit save, and now if I reload the page, you can see the initial animation. Then in the about me, the animation looks very nice. If I show you again, so this is our initial animation in it, and if I start scrolling, you can see the about me animation. Next we're going to add animation to our services. So for this, let's go to the services section. First let me copy this one. So I'm going to copy this and then go to the services, and here, so in this div we're going to add our animation. So here what we're going to add here is fade left. So fade left, and here in services I'm going to also need the indexes, and then what I'm going to do is in the delay I'm going to use a template literal, and then I'm going to use I into 150. So I dynamically add the delay in every service card. So let's say for the first service card the index will be 0 because the array start with 0 index. So this one will have a delay of 0 into 150, that means 0. So the first card will have no delay. For the second card, the I value will be 1, and 1 will be multiplied with 150 and it will be 150. So we have a delay of 150 milliseconds for the second card. For the third card, we have the index of 2 and 2 will multiply with 150 and it will be 300 milliseconds. So that's how we're delaying our services card. So now if I hit save, and now if I reload the page, so these are initial animation. Now if I start scrolling, this is the about me, then this is the services section, which looks very nice, and you can see they have different delay value. Next we are going to add animation to our projects. So let's go here. Now I'm going to copy this one because we are going to reuse it, and then go to the projects. So here in the project, and inside this tip we're going to add this, and we also need the I value here because we're going to use the same logic here to add the delay, and we're going to change the animation. So we're going to use fade up. Now if I hit save, and if I reload the page, you can see the initial animation, the about me, the services, and then you can see the project animation, which is the fade up, and this looks very nice. Next we are going to add animation to our skill section. So let's copy this one because we are going to use the same logic in the skill section. So let's go to skill, and here in this tip, and we're going to also need the indexes value, and for the skill we're going to add flip left. Now if I hit save, and if I reload the page, so these are initial animation, then this animation, then we have the services animation, then my projects, and then we have this skills animation, which is the flip animation, and this looks very nice. Next we are going to add animation to our block section. So I am going to copy this thing because we are going to again use this in our block section. So let's go to the block, and here for this tip we're going to use the animation, and I'm going to use the indexes here, and the animation will be zoom in. Now if I hit save, and if I reload the page, so we have the initial animation, then the about me section, services animation, project animation, then the skill animation, the client reviews, and then we have the block animation, which looks very nice. And finally we are going to add animation to our contact form and this info. So let's go to the contact here, and here the contact form I'm going to paste the previously copied data.us property, and here for the first one we do not need any delay, and the animation will be fade left, fade left, and for the second one this one will be fade right, and the delay will be 100 milliseconds. Now let's go to our project and refresh the page. So these are initial animation, then we have the about me animation, services animation, projects animation, then we have the skills animation, then the block section, and finally we have the contact form animation, and everything looks very nice and attractive. So our scroll animation is completed. Finally, our project is completed. Now we are going to deploy our project. So to deploy our project, first we need to push our project in GitHub. So I'm going to open my GitHub account, and then I'm going to create a new repository. So new repository, and I'm going to name it dev portfolio, and it will be a private repository, and then I'm going to click here to create repository. Now I'm going to open my code editor, and here I am going to stop the terminal, and then I'm going to use git init to initialize an empty git. Then I'm going to use git add dot to add file, and let's remove this one, and then I'm going to use git commit dash m, then a message like first commit, and then hit enter. So now if you go to your GitHub, you can see we completed this part. So next we have this git branch dash m main. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here and hit enter. Next we need to add the remote origin. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. And finally we are going to push our project using git push dash u origin main. So copy this, paste it here and hit enter. Now this will push your project to GitHub. So now it's completed. Now let's go to your GitHub, and if you refresh the page, you can see we have our project here. We have data, app, component, constant, and all other folders. Now what we are going to do is we're going to deploy our project in Vercel. So let's go to the Vercel dashboard, and if you don't have any account, you can create free account in Vercel. Now I'm going to click here to add a new project, and then here you can see I'm going to import the dev portfolio from GitHub. So click here to import, and let's give this a name like dev portfolio website, and then click here to deploy. This will deploy your project in Vercel. So the deployment started. Let's wait some time to complete the deployment. The deployment is completed. Now click here to continue to dashboard. So this is the dashboard. Here you can see we have a domain. So if I click here, it will open our project in live server. So this project is coming from the live server, and you can see the animation. So if I reload the page, you can see the animation. We have our custom cursor, we have our custom scroll bar, and we have the scroll animation, we have the project section, everything fit perfectly. We have the skills, client review, blog, and the contact section. So if I check the responsiveness, you can see everything fit perfectly. We have this Navbar sidebar, so you can see everything is perfect. So now you have a link that you can share to your client, or you can add this to your resume. So that's it for today. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for more interesting web development content. Thanks for today.